Some of you know that one. Piracy is as old as time. Well, maybe not quite as old as time, but certainly as old as humankind. The earliest recorded activity of piracy was in ancient Greek records, and in fact, under the reign of Alexander the Great, the Aegean Sea was the epicenter of the Greek trade world, and piracy was so insidious and so rampant that Alexander the Great decided that it was one of his prime directives to eradicate piracy. After capturing one particular pirate, Alexander the Great was interviewing him, and he said, "Why do you do what you do? Why are you a sea robber?" And the pirate replied, "I am merely doing the same kind of troubling in the world that you are. I have one small ship, so I am called a pirate. You have an entire fleet, so you are called an emperor." Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? But piracy was going on all over the world and has since before Alexander the Great. And in fact, in northern Europe, the Vikings between the 8th and the middle of the 12th century were quite well known for their piracy. Yes, they were brutal, they were despicable, and they were a few other things, but they reliably brought the goods home. They reliably brought home goods to support their families. They brought home food, they brought home livestock, and maybe if they had to, a few bits of gold and other treasures. So why did people become pirates? Why was there piracy? Well, some people became pirates because they had no other way of making a living. But other people became pirates because they were trying to escape slavery, or they were trying to escape a criminal prosecution or religious persecution. Or they saw piracy as a way to better themselves socially, economically. It's a very American concept to be able to grow up and decide what you want to be. In the olden days, if you were born into aristocracy, you became an aristocrat. And if you were born into the peasant class, you died in the peasant class. Farmers did not become engineers, and doctors did not become merchants. You just were what you were, unless you were a pirate. And if you were a pirate, then you all of a sudden had the opportunity to have access to wealth beyond your wildest dreams. In his book, Life on the Mississippi, Mark Twain said, "Now and then we had a hope that if we lived and were good, God would permit us to be pirates." Now, if we just dropped off that word pirates, think about in our memories how many times we've said, "Well, if I live through this and I'm good, God's gonna," and then you fill in the blank. Right? We think God is conditional sometimes, like we forget. Oops, we forgot. But we forget. We think God is conditional. If I'm good, God's going to help me find my true love. And if we're good, God's going to make sure that I'm financially taken care of in my retirement years. And if I'm good, I'm going to win the lottery. Because yesterday, the Powerball was valued at $120 million. Now, that's some kind of treasure. If we live through it and we're good. But here's the truth. Here's the good news that's not even new news. It's like old news. It's 2,000-year-old news. Jesus says, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." We don't have to steal an experience of heaven. It's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So it doesn't matter what happened in our past. It doesn't matter if we made good choices or bad choices. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. What happens is right now, unconditionally, it is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. It is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So why did Mark Twain think that being a pirate was the penultimate dream? Well, because pirates were cool. I mean, really, because he thought pirates were cool, and he recognized in his wisdom that pirates actually have some spiritual teachings that could benefit us on our life journey. Let's start with the pirate quiz. True or false? Piracy on the high seas came to a close in the 18th century with the end of the Golden Age. True or false?
False.
False, yes. The 1,900 miles of coastline in Somalia are proof that it still goes on today. Fiji was a favorite spot for the rest and refurbishment. True or false?
True.
True. It's not true. It's
Again,
false.
she says true.
She was here the night of. It's false. It's false. Yeah, there's one in every crowd. The island Saint Marie was right off of Madagascar, and its geographic configuration made it a perfect place for security. It was close to the Asian trade routes, which made that perfect. They had plenty of food that made it perfect. And the natives had this amazing drink that the sailors loved, so that made it perfect. It was not Fiji. Pirates really made victims walk the plank. True or false?
True.
False. This is a myth promoted by fiction. Pirates really did have wooden legs and hooks for hands. True or false? True. It was tough being a pirate, and the braver and more courageous you were, the more likely you were going to lose a hand or a finger or an eye. So there were lots of hooks. There were lots of eye patches. I see a few eye patches out here. There weren't so many wooden legs, because if you lost a leg, chances were that you would die of infection. But there were, so if you lived through it, you got a wooden leg. Pirates really did carry parrots on their shoulders. True or false?
True.
True. In the golden age of piracy, exotic animals were quite popular, and pirates traveled a lot. So they had access to acquiring parrots. Parrots were cool. They sat on your shoulder. You could teach them how to talk. There's a Geico commercial that gets a pirate in trouble because of his talking pirate. But the true attraction to parrots over other exotic animals is that they were a lot cleaner than monkeys. In order to be a pirate, you have to be a man. True or false? False. Oh, I'm so glad you know this, because one of the most famous women pirates ever was Anne Bonny, and she came out of South Carolina. And she and her partner, Mary Read, were the terror of the seas for a good long pirate time, which was about 3 years. But there are legends, there are stories about the two of them. The most famous female pirate of them all was Madame Chang, who inherited her husband's small pirate business in 1807, which she grew to over 1,800 ships and 80,000 pirates in the South China Seas. She had so much money that she eventually bought herself a pardon and lived happily ever after. I'm not kidding, happily ever after. The baddest of the bad was Blackbeard. True or false? False. He was pretty nasty, and he was totally crazy, and he died in North Carolina, but he was not the baddest of the bad. The baddest of the bad were more like Henry Long Ben Avery, who captured the great Mogul ship on the way to Mecca with its treasures and its jewels and its women, and you really don't want to know what happened next. Another horrible, horrible baddest of the bad pirate was Bartholomew Black Bart. What's his last name? Roberts. The dread pirate Roberts. He was horrible. He captured over 400 ships in the Caribbean and Africa, and he was horrible. He was horrible. So if all of these things about pirates are true and the rest are false, then what makes pirates so spiritual? I know you're just wondering, you're dying to hear, because you'd rather hear that than another pirate joke. I know it. Pirates were expressive with their feelings and emotions. Now this is where we get to play. When I present the spiritual truth, everybody here says, way, hey, hey. Ready? Way, hey, hey. And then after I give you the rationale and the details, we sing, yo, ho, the pirate's life for me. Practice. Yo, ho, the pirate's life for me. Okay, so this is truth number one. Pirates were expressive with their feelings and emotions, and how do we know that? Because of their language. Because of their language. Research shows that as we express our feelings and emotions, now usually I don't invite you to use language, but if you're going to use pirate language, my request is that you put holy in front of it. Because if you put holy in front of anything, it turns out to be okay and good. I usually invite people to be creatively expressive by drawing something out or dancing it out or sculpting it out with their hands. But to express our feelings and our emotions is really healthy. It takes the charge off of whatever's going on in our lives. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is between us. As we share with the people we're in community with, as we share our feelings and our emotions, we can certainly create space for the kingdom of heaven. Yo ho, the pirate's life for me. Number two, pirates recognized that their sources of good were numerous. Way, hey, hey. You know, pirates didn't only work at sea. This famous one, the pirate rum captain Henry Morgan, was actually a horrible sailor. He was a horrible sailor, and he kept getting ships sunk after ships sunk after ships sunk, and eventually he blew one sky high. He was just a terrible pirate until he figured he could pirate ships while they were in port. So he went from port to port and had a very successful pirate career that way. So the spiritual invitation for us is to not get fixated on a particular source of our good. If I can't be in relationship with Nikki, my life is over. Or if I can't put away X number of dollars per month, I will never have a good retirement. Who knows what other sources of good we have? I am not open to discovery, really, about other sources of relationships, because I really love being in a relationship with Nikki. But if it wasn't Nikki, there would be somebody else. If there wasn't a retirement plan that I thought was working now, there's going to be something else. We have more than one source of our good. God is our source. God shows up in all kinds of faces. God shows up in all kinds of situations. God shows up in expected and unexpected ways. God is our source. Together, yo ho, the pirate's life for me. Number three, pirates created agreements and kept them. Way, hey, hey. Pirates actually were a very egalitarian bunch. What they would do is they'd come together as a collective, and then they would have an election, and they would vote on who they wanted their captain to be. And then the captain would create all these plans for them to amass and accumulate new wealth. And they would say, you know, I don't like that plan, or I do like that plan. They would vote on whether or not they were going to engage in the plan. And once they'd acquired booty, they had these agreements that the treasure, the loot, would be divided equally between them, with a bonus for the captain and the quartermaster. They were agreements that these pirates kept. No gambling for money on board ship. Lights out at 8 o'clock. If you want to drink after 8 o'clock, you have to go up on deck to do it. If you have a disagreement, if you have a fight that you need to settle with somebody, settle it ashore. Don't settle it on the boat. Make sure that your weapons are clean and prepared and working and ready to go at every given moment. These were agreements, and the pirates kept them. This goes beyond honor among thieves. It goes to the power that we have as individuals to make agreements. And what happens? What's the value of keeping agreements? that we build trust. What would the world be like if we kept our agreements with each other? What would the world, like the community, Unity of Wilmington community be like if we always kept our agreements? What would Wilmington or the world beyond be like if we always kept our agreements? There would be trust. We would have more free time because we wouldn't be worried about what everybody else would be doing. We can trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do when they say that they're going to do it. We have opportunity for expansion in our consciousness. We have opportunity to have more creative time. We have opportunity to have fun and friendly learning. We have opportunity to play. Yo-ho, yo-ho, the pirate's life for me. Well, because I'm the pirate minister of the day, and I'm the captain, I have, with the help of Jennifer and Annette, put together some treasure for you. In there's gold, and there is silver, albeit wrapped around chocolate. The ushers are going to bring it forward. They're bring the booty forward. They're going to bring it forward right now. They're going to give it to you because also in there is a gem. And on the bottom of the gem is a word. And that word is your special treasure. It's the treasure that's been inside you all along. It is your divine birthright. And we think we have to look out there for treasure. But the truth is the treasure is here. The truth is that the treasure is inside us. So if you want to hold this in your hand during meditation, I just invite you to remember that yes, there's chocolate involved. And you know when we get into meditation how we get really hot and spiritual. So before we do that, I want to invite you into affirming with me an article of agreement for Unity of Wilmington. We stand by our beliefs, take risks, and fear nothing. Are you in?
Yes.
Who votes that this be our motto of the day? Because we are. Okay. Well, let's say it together. We stand by our beliefs, take risks, and fear nothing. How'd that feel? One more time. We stand by our beliefs, we take risks, and fear nothing. Oh man, you know what it requires? It requires letting go. There's another spiritual lesson. It requires letting go of what we know and venturing into the unknown. But we're not doing it alone. We're doing it in community. We're doing it with the treasure of our mind and our heart. So let's now sing Let Go of the Shore as we prepare for Nancy to take us into meditation.
And I invite you now to just relax in your chair.
Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Float into the mystery.
As you just allow your body to just relax into that energy. Like the waves of the ocean, allowing it to wash over you. Bringing that sweet goodness, that love into the area of your heart. I invite you to tune in to the beating of your heart, that wonderful energy of spirit within, allowing the gentle waves of love and sweetness to continue to wash over you, to flow out from you to your neighbors, to the world. As we have just a moment of silence, you just allow yourself to bask in that love. And now, as you prepare to bring that sweetness, to bring that love, that light back into this room, as you allow the energy to begin to lift within you, as you carry forth this gift, as you come now, as you emerge into the light, as you feel that energy lifting you higher and higher, as you get ready to open your eyes and enjoy the gifts that surround us all.
Father, Mother, birther, and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then moves through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From you, age to age, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen and amen.